Aloha and welcome back to another episode of Ke Alaka'i The Podcast. I'm your host, Eli Hadley. Today I'm joined by my fellow co-host, Hadley Wurtz. How you doing, Hadley?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing okay. Just trying to get through the week.
Yeah,
But
it's one of those weeks.
For sure. And today we have a really special guest on here. We have Anel Canto. Fun fact, though, Anel was the first person I met from BYU-Hawaii. Because I came in, he was my first RA ever. He's the one that checked me into my room when I was 18. Almost 5 years ago.
He's looking surprised. I don't think he remembers.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I remember. He was a good RA, though. But Anel today has been willing to join the podcast to talk about fatherhood. But how are you doing today, Anel?
Oh, I'm doing great, Eli. Thanks for inviting me to this podcast.
Absolutely.
I didn't remember. I don't remember that, but I'm glad you had the impression I was a good RA. So.
I'm sure everyone else thought you were a good RA, right? You know?
Yeah, I hope so.
Oh. Holly 7. It was something, not my favorite Holly, but you made it good. So
Nice.
But going off of that, Anel, could you maybe introduce yourself and tell us where you're from, your year in school, what you're majoring in?
Yes, so my name is Anel Canto, and I am from Panama. This is my last semester.
Oh, wow. I'm
majoring in computer science. So, yeah, I'm going to look for a job right after this last semester. That's a little bit about me.
Awesome. And, you had about a month ago, a very special thing happened in your family. Well, your family's starting pretty much.
Yeah, that's right. I became a father on March 25th. It's a boy, baby Winston, and he's really cute. We're really excited, my wife and I. And yeah, I became a father now.
It's so exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, obviously becoming a dad is not easy, and I'm sure you're learning that the hard way. But what would you say are some of the biggest challenges or changes as well into life with a baby?
I like to believe it was a little easier for me than my wife to bring him to this world, but
sure, yeah.
no.
That's
jokes aside. After that, it's tough. Especially, I'm still within that 2-month period. When I had heard before, it's really difficult because the baby cannot even sleep the full night, and I'm living it now.
Yeah.
I have to wake him up if he doesn't wake up. It's pretty tough, but at the same time, it's really rewarding. My wife especially tells me that she had never even imagined that she could feel so much love for one person, and it's just beautiful to see that process and see my wife taking a lot of the leadership in nurturing him, and it's my pleasure to help her in anything that she asks me. I feel like I'm so thankful that she's able to feed my little baby. It's just beautiful, and to see that little person that looks like me and like my wife, it's just magical. I know it's kind of cliche, everyone says the same thing, but experiencing it is definitely magical.
Well, that reiterates the truth then. If everyone's feeling that way, that's so exciting for new parents and for those maybe listening to this too that are expecting a baby. That's awesome.
For sure. And going off that, Anel, what are some of your favorite parts of being a dad, right? Because there are obviously going to be challenges, but what are the moments that make you think, wow, this is worth it all the way?
Well, I didn't know, you think you kind of know babies because babies are a fact of life, but there's so many things that you start learning. I'm a dad, at least I didn't have younger siblings, so one of those things that to me are super special is whenever my son smiles. He's a few weeks old only, so I didn't know that it took him a while to smile. I kind of thought they would smile immediately, but now I see it's one of those developmental stages that they need to go through, and he recently has given us a few smiles. That has meant the world for us, even though we're sleep deprived. Those little smiles,
it makes up for it, right?
They make it all worth it. For sure.
How much sleep do you think you get every night?
Ooh, well, it's gotten better for me recently. Because at the beginning, it was just 4, well, not even 4, every 2 hours we had to wake up, both of us, to feed the baby. Even if he wouldn't wake up, we understood that we had to wake up and feed him. The last week, though, my wife she asked me to wake up at 6 a.m. because she has a hard time feeding at that time and keeping herself awake. So she says that she prefers kind of like to sleep through she wants me to sleep through the night because I also have class the next day. Doesn't have class or is not working right now. But then at 6 a.m. I wake up and help her stay up. So that's kind of how we do it right now. And then after that, she breastfeeds him and then I give him the bottle. So, yeah.
You gotta find your system. It's different for everyone, so it's good you kind of figured out what works.
We're really lucky that right now she is able to just breastfeed her baby. She's doing it full time, which is a privilege that she has right now.
Yeah.
But I could not imagine like those working moms that they have to work while having their baby. That is really tough, especially if you're alone. Like I could not imagine doing that, but only one person. That's crazy.
For sure. Motherhood and fatherhood, they're some of the greatest sacrifices people can make, right? And
for sure.
I think it's good that you recognize, there's sacrifice on the mother's part, and so you're able to see their sacrifices that you can make to make Killian's life easier. For the future though, like what are some of the things you're concerned about as being the parent of Winston and as he grows up? My parents always tell me how sad they are that we grew up, right? I know that they're saying that they're happy for us, but they're also sad that we're not little anymore.
It goes too quick.
Mm-hmm. The good old days are just gone.
Well, I guess at my stage, I haven't thought much about that yet. Like he's so little and I'm enjoying all his little changes. So I'm just enjoying it right now. But one of the things that I fear about a little bit is freedom, agency. Like I've been preparing myself these months, expecting him and reminding myself that it is not up to me to control him or to, direct every single thing in his life. Like, yes, at the beginning, I know that I have to try to help him learn the best way of thinking or what I think is the best way to understand things and kind of like guide him through the world. But I know that at some point he's going to start separating himself, like getting his own identity, which is good. It's healthy. But it's kind of scary because, in this life, we are free to make all sorts of good decisions, but also not so good decisions. And I know that if we make bad decisions, the natural consequence is we'll have to suffer, right, for those poor decisions that we make. And it's a little scary to think that I have to let my little child one day being able to make decisions that will hurt him. And that's normal, and I have to respect that. And that concerns me a little bit, but at the same time, I'm prepared and committed. I don't want to say prepared, but I'm committed to when the time comes, I will slowly give him, his freedom, because that's another thing I learned. Like, freedom is not a fact. There's a difference between freedom and agency. I heard that in the Come Follow Me recently. They're talking about that. I don't know if you guys heard about John, by the way.
Yeah.
Right. He was talking about that really hit me. Freedom is this thing. It's like a negotiation, right? It's something that you gradually are given, or you might have that opportunity, right? Sure. Whereas agency is something that we're born with. Like, we have agency to do the right thing or not. But we live in a government. We might have different freedoms depending on where we live. And in a family, I am prepared to at the beginning lead his life and protect him, shelter him for so many things, and train him in things that I've learned. Like, I want him to learn how to code, for example. Like, I want to teach him kind of those things. But then I will have to eventually slowly give him more and more freedom, because I wouldn't want 18 years old to come and he hasn't experienced like as much freedom as possible yet. You kind of need to train him into being able to know how to be free, so when he goes to life he can face it and he's not doesn't go crazy not knowing what to do. So yeah, I just think a lot about that reality, like reminding myself that I cannot control him.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me think of the Finding Nemo, right? You know, that the whole movie is about the dad understanding that, like, you do want to protect your son, right? But you also need to let him experience life, and you need to have that balance of protection but also freedom. And it makes me think about, we all believe in a Father in heaven, that we are children of him. And I mean, my dad's told me this, that being a father for him helped him learn more about what it is like to be a father in heaven, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the same thing, with a woman learning how to be a mother in heaven, because you have this person, right? In your case, Winston, he is your son, but he's not a copy of you, right? He's not you. He's someone different. He's not a legacy. He doesn't belong to you, right? He has his own destiny, his own decisions he'll be able to have to make. I think one of the hardest things for parents, I've never been parents, so I don't really have a right to say it, but from in the conversations I have with my father, you want your kids to make the right decisions, but sometimes kids have to, make bad decisions and learn from it, right? And understanding that, that's part of life, and that it's okay, and that you still love them as much as you loved them when they were a baby.
For sure. Like there's no way that can go away. Especially for my wife, I have to say that, like, she felt this. I know it's about fathers, but I cannot deny that becoming a father, a big part of it is appreciating motherhood.
Right.
It's they are special, and the love that she feels for her baby is something special. I mean, I love him as much as, I could love anyone. Mm-hmm. But it's just amazing to see how much love, how much sacrifice from even the moment before he came into this world, she was willing to sacrifice and to suffer everything. And then right after she suffered all that thing and she saw the baby, in the delivery room, she just cried of joy and loved him immediately. Like the pain meant nothing. And that same attitude continues after birth. And I feel like part of being father is just being there and witnessing that special relationship that is happening, that special miracle of the relationship of a mother and her baby, and then protect it.
Yeah.
I would dare to say that it's almost like, I feel like I'm kind of enhancing it, if anything. Of course, I know that I have my own relationship with my baby. I will have it. Like I still cannot communicate very much with him. He just has pretty limited vocabulary. I only hear him and some cute sounds, some smiles, and haven't had giggles yet.
Aww.
But like I know eventually I'll have a communication, like more. I'll be able to communicate with him. He'll be able to communicate with me. Right now, he does have a very real connection, physical, even with his mom. Right. He depends on her for his nourishment, and I know that I'm glad I'm studying computer science. I'm graduating this semester, and then I know I have to protect that. Like I have to do everything I can so they can continue that relationship, so his body can grow and they can keep healthy. And then and then I'm excited for eventually being able to have that relationship with him, communicate with him. But in summary, I'm just saying a lot of being a father so far is just helping, protecting, facilitating as much as I can. Mm-hmm. Winston's relationship with his mom, like her being able to nurture him. I feel like she has a lot of instincts of not letting me cry maybe for a little longer than I feel like, but I feel like I kind of listen to her because she seems to have more of that nurturing nature. And it's beautiful being able to help a mother with her baby.
That's awesome. I think you have a really beautiful perspective on that too, that I think it's just overlooked a lot, I think, in mainstream media and film and like the way we were exposed to a lot of these things before we experience it ourselves. And so, like, especially as a woman, I appreciate your perspective and being able to support your wife in that way. On the topic of supporting your wife, how did you feel like you were able to support her best, like throughout the pregnancy and even now? Like, what are some things that you do or that you would suggest others to help her best?
Well, during pregnancy, that is a very, very tough time for a wife. Like, she's going through a lot of things emotionally, physically. She was amazing, actually. She actually worked a full-time job up until like 2 weeks before giving birth.
Wow.
So she's like a super woman, pretty
Superhero
much.
right there.
So she actually did a lot, and I was still in school getting like a full-time load as well. And I do the dishes, I guess, and do all the little normal things, but also understand that during that time her emotions are a little more like, there's a lot of hormones going on. So sometimes I kind of have to step back a little bit and be extra patient and understand that her body's doing so much right now. And, you know, I have to, if someone has to yield or like be patient with the other person, even if you don't feel that time is perfectly reasonable. It's probably me, because I don't have anything going on right now. Like, I'm not growing a person inside of me. So maybe that having that patience and that love and that care, remembering that, you know, she's going through something huge right now. During labor, it was very important for her to me, for me to be there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I thought it was gonna be a lot more scary,
Yeah.
like the birth itself, but it wasn't somehow.
Yeah.
It was exciting to be there for her, and I was just trying to be calm and just being supportive and do whatever she needed, give her water or snacks, whatever she needed, and now it's kind of the same, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just making sure that whenever I'm there, like, she has enough water, that she has snacks if possible, that she needs anything, feed the baby whenever he needs a bottle to supplement the breastfeeding that she's giving him. Again, I feel like a lot of pre-fatherhood and fatherhood right now is supporting my wife, because she is just, I mean, the baby came through her and he's being fed through her, and I'm just helping right now. As I said, I'm looking forward to that time when maybe I can have a direct relationship with him, but right now my relationship is like half of it is indirect through helping my wife.
But it's still equally as important, right?
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely.
And then the other part is with him, like how I spend a lot of time with him, how I cuddle with him, and all that stuff. But yeah, I enjoy being a father by supporting her as well.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. I love that. And, you know, because being a student, being a parent, right, those two things sometimes can have, you know, create some conflict, very difficult situations. What advice would you give to people who are, you know, they're going to have a child, but they're also a student, to manage everything and to be able to have both of those?
Well, I have personally met student moms that they have a child as students. I say they are the real Wonder Woman. That's amazing. You would have to ask them, because that is, I could not imagine going through something like that. And having children. I know women that successfully do it. I have had classmates that have children, they get good grades. So that is amazing. But as a father, I feel like I find myself sometimes just having to have faith. Like, I have to rely on my faith and ask God for help. Probably be a little patient with yourself if maybe you are not able to have the best grades that you wanted, and some assignments, but keep pushing forward. Like, especially for fathers, it's very important to be able to provide. You know, there are different ways to have a family and different ways to have parent. But one of the things I like from the Family Proclamation for the World is that principle that fathers have a special role as providers. I know that there's different situations that can happen, and some people, you know, can do their own way. But it is very important that we complete our education, that we still try to make, you know, try to do as much progress and ensure that we complete your bachelor's, and then ensure that we keep getting more education. And not because I'm choosing my career more than my family, but because my role and my way to be there for my family is doing that right. Yeah. My wife is really smart as well. Like, she's very school smart person. I'm sure as soon as she becomes less physically depending on her, she also wants to pursue, you know, graduate studies and have a profession. But yeah, I if I would have to tell something to students is, don't feel like you have to choose one thing or the other. Yeah. It's a matter of priorities. I think I heard Elder Holland saying that once. It's a matter of timing. So because my priority is my family, right? And then, you know, the reason we have professions is so we can provide for our families. Sometimes that means different timings, right? If you're in college and you're a dad, for example, yes, don't punish yourself too much if you don't have the best grade, but try your best and, if possible, get the best grade possible. And you have to get more education. Yeah. Because right now my wife, I'm not going to speak about everyone, but right now my wife wants to be with him, and he wants her to be with him. So if I am able to let her be at home for as long as she needs, for as long as he needs to kind of grow a little bit, that's what I should do. And then whenever he has a little bit more of independence or go to school, then or whenever my wife feels like it's appropriate, she will probably study more and get more of her education. And I think that is a good example as well. Sure. Yeah. Especially when we have daughters, to see that we believe, my wife and I, that, you know, parenthood is the most important thing, being parents. And in her role as a mother, it seems she feels now that she has a baby that's what she wants the most. But I always try to remind her, this is beautiful and this is the most important thing. But why not having it all? Like, why not keep trying for, honestly, right now we don't have much money, obviously, but I feel like I want to provide, and I would want my wife to still have her career, but not really for money, because if I'm able to provide, why would she need to get a career? Well, I feel my mom is a working mom. She got a bachelor's in communication when she had me still as a little kid. She was one of those moms. Yeah. And now when I left to college, she started I have another brother, so he's 10 years older than me. He left to, he's older than me. And then when I'm the youngest when I left, she started a degree in law. Yeah. So she's a lawyer now. Awesome. She just graduated. Good for her. And I've seen that satisfaction that a woman can have having a career. So it's not all about money. And I feel very inspired from my mom. And I also feel like part of her education kind of transferred to me a little. I mean, not like but I feel like maybe if I had a little bit more of advantage with communication, it was because my mom could help me a little bit. Yeah. So I feel like it's very important for a mother to be able to have as much education as she can.
Absolutely.
and also for her own satisfaction and for the world. Like, you can bless other people. But definitely I feel like we are in the same page that for us, parenthood is number one. But then everything else, like, we want everything. Why not? If you can do it.
In the right timing, and if it's right and that's what you want, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, to close up here, we wanted to ask you, so if your son were to listen to this down the road when he's old enough to comprehend what we're saying, what would you want him to know about this time of life or just in general?
Well, Winston, if you could hear me, you're probably wondering, why are you speaking to me in English? That's kind of weird. 'Cause he's a little baby and I already speak in Spanish with him all the time because that's my native language. But if you can hear this, Winston, I want to say thank you for coming to our lives this time. I want to tell you that I'm thank you with Heavenly Father for sending you, because it kind of was not your decision, but I'm very thankful with Heavenly Father for sending you to my life at this time in our lives. And you're the cutest baby in the world. Doesn't matter what. And you were the cutest baby in the world, I guess. Because you're not a baby anymore. You're an adult now, right? Or a teenager. And I'm very happy to go on this life journey with you until I'm alive. Until I'm not alive anymore, I guess. And you have given me the greatest privilege that I could have ever asked. I am very thankful for an education. I'm very thankful for so many blessings that I have received in life, but no other blessing has been greater than being a father. And thank you for giving me that opportunity.
It's beautiful.
And thank you, Anel, for giving us the opportunity that we could listen to your thoughts on fatherhood. And I'm sure one day when Winston listens to this, he's going to be grateful that you're his father, you stuck by him, that you were there for him, and that you've been an example to him if he one day becomes a father. So thank you so much, Anel.
Yes,
Thank you. This is really nice.
Yeah, for sure. And we hope to all you fathers out there that you know how important you are and how loved you are, and that you do such great service to the children in your life. And yeah, that's our show, folks. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.